Hi, folks. My name is Dr. Carmen Jones. I'm a licensed naturopathic doctor, and I wanted to hop on here and take a few minutes to talk about what is naturopathic medicine. What does it mean? And how is our approach a little bit different, and how I practice naturopathic medicine to help my patients, right? So I like to use my PowerPoints. So I'm always trying to see if I'm doing this correctly. All right, hopefully. All right, so naturopathic medicine. Oftentimes people may confuse this with functional medicine, integrative medicine, alternative medicine, complementary medicine, natural medicine. They can all be very similar, and sometimes they all get lumped together under sort of this umbrella. But there are some little subtle differences between naturopathic medicine and functional medicine, integrative medicine, and those. But the 6 principles of naturopathic medicine are: do no harm, identify and treat the root cause, treat the whole person, prevention, physician is teacher, which is docere in Latin, which is the where the word doctor comes from. That one's near and dear to my heart. It's why I love teaching classes. This is why I'm trying to start this YouTube channel, to get information out there to help people understand the naturopathic perspective and what's kind of going on in our body, helps us identify and kind of begin to look at different root causes, and another way to address our health and promote sort of this optimal health and wellness. And then the healing power of nature. This vis medicatrix naturae, it literally translates to the healing power of nature. And this is unique in that, from a naturopathic medicine perspective, is we're trying to use therapies to support our body, right? We have a very unique human design. And from a naturopathic perspective, we're trying to treat the individual, not the disease. Right? I tell folks, it doesn't necessarily matter what diagnosis you come to me with. Sometimes there are folks who go to the Mayo Clinic. They've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and time and still don't have a diagnosis. Or sometimes folks are going to specialist after specialist after specialist and they still don't have a diagnosis. They get really frustrated. I tell folks that it's about addressing not just the symptoms, but what's creating this issue in your body. So we may not be able to always get that diagnosis, but it's about treating the individual, not the actual disease. Diagnosis kind of gives us this idea and this framework of some symptoms we expect, but that doesn't always reveal the whole story, right? I do this a lot in my practice, focus on sort of mind, body, and spirit, because we can address our physical body and our physical health, but if we don't address our mind body and our spirit body, we can only go so far in our healing process and in our optimal health. So I'm always trying to, identify and look and hear in your story those things in the background that relate to your physical body, your mind body, and your spirit body. And naturopathic medicine really sits in the middle there, between all these components, which makes our care even more individualized and specific, in my opinion. So on a similar note, I like to share with folks, especially new patients, this illness wellness continuum, because oftentimes when we're trying to measure what is our health like, where do we want our health to be, where is it? Sometimes a lot of folks are in this comfort zone, this 4, 5, and 6. They don't really have any symptoms or a diagnosis, but they may not be feeling great. They may not be continually trying to improve their health. And that's where we get further on this wellness development, 7, 8, 9, 10, you'll see 10 optimal health. is 100% function, spiritual growth, wellness, lifestyle, active participation in this continuous development, right? We're always moving towards something. Versus on the other end, this disease developing state is where we have sort of this dysfunction. Again, the diagnosis might be a little bit difficult. Some therapies have already been started, either conventional or even naturopathic therapies, but they may have been stopped. And then that will continue to worsen, right? Oftentimes I tell folks, if you think of your symptoms, you think of your diagnosis, the changes in your body as that check engine light that comes on, like in your car. Oftentimes that check engine light doesn't just turn off on its own. We often have to do something in order for it to turn off. One of my colleagues describes our symptoms as receiving love letters from our body, that our body is sending us little love letters to tell us, hey, I need attention. You need to focus on this, and give, your body a little bit more support. Either way, it gets the same message across, in that there comes a point that if we continue to take our body for granted, we won't be in that healing reparative state, right? And so in order to feel well, to be well, to move well, to think well, you have to be working towards this better health, this preventative medicine, this, optimal wellness. All right, so I love this analogy or metaphor for naturopathic medicine, sort of this idea of this paradigm shift. If you guys ever get the chance, Google the book Flat Earth Medicine. It was written by a homeopathic naturopathic doctor, and you can find copies of it online. And he describes, if you think of your body a lot like a house, okay? When our house has problems, right? When our house undergoes things like it has a fire is created, who do you call? You call the fire department, right? You call the fire department and you trust that they put your house, that they stop the fire in your house, right? That they keep that fire from exploding and moving to the house next door. You hope that they can save as much as they can, right? They're the experts in that field. If we take this metaphor and we apply it to our body, and our body is that house, oftentimes when we are experiencing a disease, when we're experiencing a set of symptoms, it can be like our house is on fire, right? And so you go to the doctor, you go to the hospitals in order to get that addressed, right? Get that fire under control, right? From a naturopathic perspective, and from my perspective in my office, is I'm trying to figure out how we can prevent that fire, right? Are there things that we can do in the foundation of your house to keep a fire from erupting? The things we can do, like making sure your electrical, right, is up to date, making sure your appliances, right, aren't shorting and creating this fire, right? Because we know when firefighters come in and they put out that fire, they do an excellent job. But there may be some damage that occurs that around the house. There may be some water damage. There may be some broken windows that may not have been directly affected by the fire, but by putting out the fire, they were affected. So it's the same thing in our body, is that if we can work on creating a stronger foundation and reduce the risk of being in a fire situation, we're going to reduce the risk of having all this sort of secondary damage that can occur with trying to repair our body after a diagnosis or disease has already started, after that fire has already started. So one of the things I love to do is to try and explore with folks a root cause of their disease. Okay, so for example, diabetes, right? Diabetes is very, very common. High blood pressure, heart disease, autoimmune conditions, arthritis even. These are very common diseases that I see a lot of in my practice. And so even with diabetes, well, diabetes is started by something, right? And it can be a little bit different for everybody, right? We often think that diabetes is associated with nutrition, and it is to a certain extent, but there can be other factors going on. There can be other inflammatory factors, other environmental toxicities, genetic or familial factors, digestive imbalances. All of these things could be potential root causes for any disease, right? So I'm always trying to figure out what is the most common things that could be contributing, but also what is the most common for you. And I will be honest with you, very rarely is it just one thing. It's usually a culmination of things, because it's usually accumulation over time that creates disease in our body. But we work towards trying to find that root cause. And why is that important? Because when we're trying to address an illness, we're trying to reverse a disease, we want to know what the root cause is so that we can make the most progress. Okay, in you feeling better and your symptoms disappearing and you reversing a diagnosis or disease. So how does naturopathic medicine work? So there's a lot going on in this slide, but the reason why I wanted to share this with you is because there are a lot of things within naturopathic medicine that we use to address somebody's health, to address your individual situation. Okay, so things like, I always tell folks, I'm trying to identify deficiencies, like based on your story that you share with me and your case and your symptoms, sometimes we can identify deficiencies, whether those are deficiencies in our nutrients, right? Whether they're deficiencies in our vital force or in our energy or within our chi. We can find ways to begin to increase that, right? We use that healing power of nature. We use the unique design that your body has and that it wants to be in that reparative and regenerative state. And we use that to our advantage, right? It's tapping into that and figuring out why your body's not in that healing or reparative state and what can we do to get it there, right? So creating a healthy regimen or sort of this regular protocols for folks can be very beneficial. Using herbs, using homeopathy, these things can all be beneficial in stimulating that body's ability to heal itself. Right? And how do we do that? There are a lot of natural therapies out there. These are just some of the ones that I use in my practice: botanical medicine, herbal medicine, clinical nutrition, food. I do a lot of food as medicine for a couple of different reasons. Every time we eat or drink something gives us opportunity to nourish our body or hinder our body's healing ability. And so keeping that in mind when we make our choices on the things that we eat and we drink. Mind-body medicine, again, homeopathy, flower essences, and acupuncture are all just different types of therapies that we use to begin to stimulate our body's ability to heal itself, right? We're tapping into this unique design. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully it gives you guys a little bit of introduction about naturopathic medicine and a little bit more about how I operate my practice. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can find my website, www.drcarmenjones.com. You can email me through there. You can also find me on Facebook. And then you can always, drop a comment in the comment section. So just getting started, but if you will like and subscribe and stay tuned for more videos.